The school bell echoed, signaling the end of another day of dread for me, Maya. I was the quintessential target, small, shy, and carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. My tormentor was Jake, a hulking figure with a sneer that could curdle milk. His favorite pastime was making my life a living hell. Every day was a repeat telecast of humiliation. My reading materials would be swiped and thrown around, my lunch tray would drop, and I was constantly taunted like a shadow. I tried to disappear, to become invisible, but Jake's radar always found me. I lived in a cocoon of fear. I started avoiding the school cafeteria, opting for the library's secluded corners. My grades began to slip, my sleep was haunted by nightmares, and my laughter became a distant memory. There wasn't a solution, I was going down and not knowing how to stop. But there was a silver lining, a beacon of hope in my otherwise gloomy existence, my neighbor, Sarah. She was everything I wasn't: confident, outspoken, and fiercely independent. We had been friends since childhood, sharing secrets and dreams under the canopy of the old oak tree that stood between our houses. Sarah knew about Jake. She had witnessed his cruelty firsthand, and it infuriated her. "You can't let him do this to you, Maya," she'd say, her eyes blazing with righteous anger. "You have to stand up to him." Quote. But standing up to Jake felt like asking a mouse to confront a lion. "I can't, Sarah," I'd whisper, my voice trembling. "He's too strong." Quote. Sarah would sigh, her frustration palpable. "Strength isn't just about muscles, Maya. It's about courage, about believing in yourself." Quote. One afternoon, after a particularly brutal encounter with Jake, I found myself sobbing on Sarah's doorstep. She pulled me inside, made me a cup of tea, and sat beside me, her arm around my shoulders. "I can't take it anymore, Sarah," I cried. "I just want it to stop." Quote. Sarah held me tight. "It will stop, Maya," she said firmly. "But you need to be the one to stop it. All you need is to recognize your strength." But I was really scared because when I see that figure my heart tightens, and my mind go blanks. It has going on for so long that I just feel anxious and don't know what to do. Sarah suggested a plan to me on that day, which was to take back my life. It wouldn't be easy, she warned, but it would be worth it. She would help me find my voice, my strength, my confidence. So I started with watching him from behind so I don't feel anxiety around him. It took months to overcome my fear to bite back, but Sarah keeps supporting me. Our training began subtly. Sarah started by encouraging me to speak up in class, to voice my opinions, no matter how small. My defense relied on her asking questions that made me speak up. Slowly, tentatively, I began to find my voice. She proceeded to address my lack of confidence. We started with morning walks, then light jogs, and eventually, more intense workouts. Sarah taught me basic self-defense moves, showing me how to protect myself if Jake ever got physical. With each passing day, I felt myself changing. The fear was still there, but it was slowly being replaced by a flicker of defiance. I started walking taller, making eye contact, and refusing to cower when Jake passed by. Jake, of course, noticed the change. He seemed surprised, almost amused, by my newfound assertiveness. He tried to intimidate me, but his words didn't sting as much anymore. I was building an armor, a shield of self-worth that deflected his attacks. The climax came on a Friday afternoon. Jake cornered me in the hallway, his eyes filled with malice. "What's this I hear about you trying to be tough, Maya?" he sneered. "Think you can actually stand up to me?" Quote. My heart pounded in my chest, but I stood my ground. "Leave me alone, Jake," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. He laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. "Or what? What are you going to do, cry?" He reached out to shove me, but I anticipated his move. Using the self-defense techniques Sarah had taught me, I sidestepped his attack and grabbed his arm, twisting it behind his back. He yelped in surprise and pain. I didn't hold him for long, just long enough to make my point. I released his arm and stepped back, my eyes fixed on his. "I'm not afraid of you anymore, Jake," I said, my voice clear and strong. Leave me alone, or you'll regret it. Quote. He stared at me, his face a mask of disbelief and anger. For a moment, I thought he might retaliate, but then he seemed to deflate, his bravado fading away. He mumbled something under his breath and stormed off, leaving me standing there, trembling but triumphant. The word spread like wildfire. The next day, Jake avoided me. He didn't taunt me, didn't even look at me. It was as if I had become invisible to him. Life didn't magically transform overnight. There were still moments of doubt, moments when the old fear crept back in. But now, I had the tools to fight it, the strength to overcome it. Sarah remained my constant support, my unwavering cheerleader. She celebrated my victories, big and small, and reminded me of how far I had come. I learned that true strength wasn't about physical power, but about inner resilience. It was about finding your voice, believing in yourself, and refusing to be silenced. I was no longer the weak, timid girl who cowered in the shadows. I had found my strength, my courage, and my voice. And it was all thanks to the unwavering support of a friend who believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. From that day forward, school became bearable. The hallways weren't battlegrounds anymore, and my steps were no longer weighed down by fear. I started participating in class, joining clubs, and even made new friends. The girl who was once invisible had finally found her place in the world, and she was determined to make her presence known.